Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're finally making them. Okay, don't laugh at my jack-o'-lantern though, like I know his mouth is a little messed up, but look how cute! And then for our more refined crowd, we have just a pumpkin with a cute little leaf. Very fall, very decorative, very demure. Is that what we're saying now? I think it's demure. Okay, anyway, love these guys. Can't wait to redo a new face. I feel like I messed you up, little guy. I'm so sorry. Still cute, though. All right. What do you guys need to get started? We are going to need a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. This is my personal preference. If you have one that you like better, I wouldn't go above a 5 unless you're using chunky yarn. So I go with a 4 to a 4.25, and that is a size G hook. Okay. Pair of scissors, a needle to sew in your ends, and then you will need yarn in orange. I am using Big Twist Value for my jack-o'-lantern. I like this lighter brown. Of course, the stem here is a darker brown. Choose the shade you guys like. Obviously, we're going to have some black yarn for the face on our jack-o'-lantern, and then green yarn to do the leaf on the pumpkin. Let me see. Scissors, needle, hook, yarn. I don't think I forgot anything, guys. Let's get started. And remember, if you're not following me, subscribing. Sorry, I'm used to being on TikTok, guys. But if you've not subscribed, go ahead and do so. And I'll be adding a link to our Instagram so that when you guys make stuff, you can post it to Instagram, tag us, and we can see all the awesome stuff you make, just like you guys see the cool stuff that we make. All right, let's get started. This pattern is worked in rows of half double crochets. And let me see, did I do these? Okay, so I actually did both of these slightly differently. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, I did them the same. Whew, yay. Sometimes I do them a little different because it'll give you a little bit of a different texture where we have these little rivets. And again, if you've watched the half double video, you know that stitch is versatile. All right, the one I am doing is this one. It is this size, okay? And you can make it as big or as small as you want. As big or as small as you want, just increase your beginning chain and the number of rows before you connect the two ends will make your pumpkin larger or smaller. For that one in particular, I did a beginning chain of 16. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. All right. Now for the half double, remember we're going to yarn over. This is our first chain from the hook. This is our second chain from the hook. Oh, it's so hard to point now that I broke that thumbnail. So here's our second chain. Let's go right into that. Grab our yarn and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And we are going to repeat that half double crochet all the way across. You will have a total of 15. If you guys would like to pause the video here and meet back up with me at the end of this row, let's go ahead and do that, and I will meet you right back on the other end of this row. All right, so we are at the end of row 1, and this is what we've got. So we are going to chain 1, turn your work, and now since this is the half double, we have 3 loops going across the top of these stitches. But in order to have a nice, almost seamless join, we need to make sure that our first, I'm going to call it a rivet, our first little rivet of stitches that stick out like this are not going to be on this first row. They're going to be on our second row. So this first one, now this is your front side. All right, we're looking at the back now. So this is the front. You're going to yarn over. You're going to turn your work and look at the top. And you're going to grab stitch 1. You're going to grab stitch 2 or loop 2 and 3. So the ones across the top for your next double crochet. And that third loop, technically first from our viewpoint, is going to sit right here. Alright, so we're going to do that again. Don't grab that first one, grab the second and third, just like that. Alright, now I want you to go all the way across, and as you're going back across, count your stitches, because when you get back to the end of this row, this first stitch is difficult to see. So go all the way back across. If you find that you are only at 14 stitches, pause and wait for me. I'm going to pause, work my way across the row, and then we will talk about this last stitch that is sometimes a little more difficult to see. Alright guys, you should be on the other end of your row. Now I can tell that I am 1 stitch short. I've made enough of these cute little pumpkins that I simply know, but I'm going to count and show you guys and then show you where that last stitch should go. Alright, here's our first one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Exactly. I am 1 short. So I'm going to go ahead and yarn over, turn my work. Okay, it is so hard to see simply because the stitches you are looking for are almost on the side of your project right here. So it's turn and angle it, and it's these 2 right here. You guys can see that I am gripping them with my fingers, and then if I turn it, you can see that third loop right there. Now, if you want to grab up that third loop at any point on this particular row, feel free to do so. I just don't, because it gives me a better guide of my front versus back. So let's go into this last one, get our last half double. All right, now let's chain up 1, turn your work, and this is the first row that we are going to see one of those little rivets, or ridges is probably a better word. This is the row you're going to see that first ridge come out right here. So on this, you are skipping first loop, second loop, and going into the third loop that's here on the back. All right, that's where you're going to need to go, is right here. So let's yarn over, leave 1, 2, grab up number 3 right there. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3. All right, And now as we lay it down a little, you can see that ridge is going to build right here. All right, let's do a couple more. And just kind of slowly start to work our way across. And this pattern is a 2-row repeat. So once you've got these 2 mastered and you know what order you're doing them in, you have got the entire pattern. All right, there's a few, and we can see this ridge is starting to build. Look at that. And this is the outside of our pumpkin, okay? I'm going to pause here and get to the end of this row, and then I will meet you guys back. Alright guys, here we are at the end of this row. As you can see, we have a nice little ridge building right here. And it's going to curl in just a little from time to time. But as you can see, it just gives it a little bit of texture. I hope y'all can see that with how I'm angling it. If you can't, let me know in the comments. But yeah, so now we're building ridges, and the rest of this is a 2-row repeat of what we just did. So I'm going to go through it one more time. And then after that, build up your rows however many you want, because again, you don't have to follow a very specific pattern for these pumpkins. These are very adjustable. I want to say I end up with anywhere between 20 to 30 rows per pumpkin. I don't remember how many was on this little guy. If I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yep, exactly 20 on this guy. So he's got 20 rows on him. And what I might actually do is make this one a little bigger. The more rows you put, the wider your pumpkin is going to be. The less rows you put, the skinnier it's going to be. I do like this size, but I do think I want to go slightly wider so I have more room to build a face onto my next one. All right, so this is row 1 again. We are going to chain up 1 and turn our work. All right, and as you can see, we've got that one little ridge right here, which tells me this is the back of my work. I can yarn over and go through the 2 loops that are essentially sitting on top. Honestly, that to me, that's where it feels like they sit, is just on top of everything. All right, so remember, leave the first one that is facing you, so you've got a small indicator of your back versus front. Work all the way across. We'll just do these together, guys. Here we go. And of course, some of these are going to be a little more difficult. Ooh, I pulled too tight on that one. Goodness gracious, I have got to be more careful. All right. And remember, keeping your hook pointed down, that will help a lot when you're first learning. Just because it's less of a risk of grabbing any extra yarn that you were not supposed to be currently grabbing. So always keep your hook face down. And I will say that this row where you are not creating a front ridge is the one that you are most likely to miss this last stitch on. Like right, if I'm looking at this straight, it looks like I've hit every stitch holding it. I haven't. There is actually one more right there. And it's only because the stitches will appear to sit on the side. That's just where they look like they sit. All right, but that is 15, and I will triple check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And another row 2 repeat. Chain 1 and turn. That's going to be your beginning all the way, is that chain 1 and turn. Yarn over, and remember this time we are making our little front ridge, so we need to skip the first 2 and do our half double into the very last loop. So that allows the front 2 loops to create the ridge itself. All right, guys, I am going to pause here and let you guys go ahead and work up as many rows as you feel you need. Like I said, our jack-o'-lantern is 20 total rows. I'm going to do a few more rows for this guy, and I will meet you back here once that's done. Alright guys, so we have now crocheted all of our rows, and you should be at your far side. You should have something that looks like a rectangle. That's what we got, as a rectangle. I said I was going over the 20 rows in our original little fellow right here. So let's count. In between each of these rivets is 2 rows. If anyone has not picked up on that yet, that's an easy way to count your rows. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23. Okay, I am on my 24th row, and this is my row that I'm going to use to connect to the other side. I don't cast off or, detach my hook here. I actually do a join along the way, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that right now, because I seriously hate sewing pieces together. That is a vice of mine you will find on this channel, is I will avoid it as much as humanly possible. Okay, and two quick notes. We're making an amigurumi, and I completely forgot that one of our needed materials was stuffing. So we also need stuffing for this little guy, okay? I know I listed all the yarn colors, the hook, the needle to sew in your ends, your scissors. I forgot the stuffing. And the second note... Oh, yes, the second note. Sorry, guys, I'm ADHD. I will forget. The... tutorial for the half double crochet, if anyone is needing that still at this point in the video, if you have made it this far but you are still struggling, I have linked that in the description box below. Alright, now let's get back to our project. So when we're looking at this end over here, you want to make sure that you've got a ridge and only 1 row after. So some of you may need to add an additional row if maybe you're right here, add this extra row in. Alright, but you should see a ridge and then a little space of your half double instead of 2 spaces of half double, if that makes sense. So we are going to chain 1 like always. Now these ridges are your outside, so when you're about to fold your work to work through the other side, fold it with this out. So I'm going to fold and turn like this. This is my little tail from the beginning. I'm going to tuck him down. We don't need him. Okay. So now on this row right here, we know that we are only supposed to be going into these last 2 loops because this was not a ridge row. Okay. Let me show you guys what to do. Yarn over, go into that first, and go ahead and make your double crochet. Alright, make your first double crochet, pull out a little. Now this is where this can get tricky. Bring your other side back up, and you're going to go right in the first chain that you made right here. Okay, you're going to go through this first. Grab this. Grab your loop you left. Tighten it back down. And now you're going to pull this loop through this first chain in what is essentially a slip stitch. Alright. Now you're going to yarn over. Remember not to grab this front piece, only grab your back piece. And you're going to do that same thing again. your back 2 loops all the way up through your half double, pull up some, and I do like to try to angle it through to this side. So I did my first stitch here. I'm actually watching my stitches right here, so I'm going to go in just like this. Boop. Grab this, tighten, and pull through. And this, once you get a few in, you'll see that it also creates the same ridge that we have throughout the rest, so it appears to be a seamless join. Alright, I'm going to show you guys that again. So we yarn over our back piece only, the last 2 loops, remember, because we always leave this little first one on this row. Complete your half double. Alright, pull that up, next stitch right in there, and then we're gonna put that back on my hook right there, tighten it down, and pull it through. Alright? Alright guys, I'm going to complete this row and I will meet you back at the end, and then I will show you how to do the bottom. Alright everyone, here we are at the end of this row, and as you can see, this is our almost seamless stitch. It does, to me, it always looks a bit thicker than the other one, so I always use this as my back. But if you think it's cute, you know, you can stick that right up front, babes, and it will probably work. Actually, I know it'll work because it looks good. Alright, so now we're going to do the bottom. We have our little tube that is going to become our jack-o'-lantern / pumpkin, depending on what you wanted to make. We are going to chain up 1 and have the outside of your work facing you. And now what we are going to do is single crochet all the way around. Your number of single crochets is going to depend on how many rows you did. I had 24 rows. I should have 24 single crochets going around the top of this. If you only did 20, then you should have 20 single crochets. If you did like a whole bunch more, then you should have a whole bunch more. Alright? And now I'm not too picky on how these are placed. I normally will just find the stitch. I know this is a half double, this is a half double. So I'm going to go right, just kind of, you know, underneath the edge of it right there. And I'm going to give myself a single crochet. And then I'm going to go right in the top of that one, and or in the side technically, and give myself another single crochet. If you would like to mark this first one, you can, and I would recommend it if you are new to crochet. I am not going to, but please feel free to do so, and go ahead, get your single crochets done, and I will meet you back here. Alright guys, I have single crocheted around the top, as you can see. And here is where I make this pattern a little different from other people. And I know some people may not like this, but we are not going to count. We are not going to make rows. What we are going to do for the entirety of the bottom is do an invisible decrease continuously around, and I'm about to show you how to do that. We're going to do that until we have maybe 5 or 6 stitches left, and at that point we will cut our yarn and tie off. So I'm going to show you how to do this invisible decrease, and then I will let you guys work until you only have 5 or 6 stitches left on the bottom. Alright, so my first single crochet is right here. Alright, that's my chain. Recognize that one. That's my first. You're going to put your hook through and pull up a loop. Alright, and this is for an invisible decrease. In your next stitch, hook through, grab some yarn and pull up a loop. At this point, you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. That is your invisible decrease. So then you're going to go this stitch and this stitch, this stitch and this stitch. Is this blurry? Oh, not anymore. Okay, so we're going this stitch and this stitch are going to go together, this one and this one, this one and this one. And then when you get back to the beginning, then you'll just start picking up these stitches and continuing to go around. All right, I'm going to pause the video here, go ahead and do my first round, and then show you. Okay, so I have worked another round. This is only technically my second round on the bottom, and as you can see, the hole is closing up nicely. And I am back to the first invisible decrease. So I've got one that was a stitch from the previous round, and then I've got the first invisible decrease, and these two are going to go together. So there, and like I said, just keep going. The entire goal with doing the bottom like this is to give us more of a flat surface for when we set it down. Now make sure you pull kindly tight, because you don't want too many of these little holes, but to be honest, it's the bottom of the pumpkin and you're not going to see it. Once everything's said and done, those holes are not going to be there. And then on the top, we are actually going to do something just a little different. We are going to still do that one round of single crochet, just because it makes things a little neater and easier once the darning needle gets involved and we start actually sewing pieces together. Alright, I've got a few too many stitches left here. I am going to take care of this and then I will meet you back. Okay. Here we are. I've got 6 stitches left in the middle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut my yarn. Yep. Oh wow, these are actually sharp. Oh, sorry guys, I have a bunch of pairs of scissors and half of them aren't sharp anymore. So, alright. And I'm just going to pull that through right like that. I'm not going to do anything else to it. I don't need to, because it is all about to get sewn in and locked into place. Alright, let's see if I can do this today. Some days threading a needle is almost an impossible task. You guys crochet, you know what I mean. Of course it's going to be, so I will trim some. I don't know why, but that gives it like less fluffies, as I call them, on the end of it. It makes it just a little easier to get the thread through the hook, through the eye. I'm sorry, that's an eye. Alright, and now I am just going to go into all of these stitches. I am going to go in here, and then I'm going to weave back out of this one. I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to go weave into this one and back out of the next one. And I'm going to pull up. There we go. Now I'm going to go through these last 2 just to make it consistent. Here we are. And that is a tight pulled bottom. Now I'm just going to weave this in and out a couple times, kind of randomly. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Just wherever I feel like it is going to go and sit, that is where we put it. Okay. Very good. And you can pull it through and leave your yarn in the bottom. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends on the mood. Alright. We are most of the way there, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Remember, if you made it this far and you want to see some more stuff, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Even just, like, leave a comment. Because even that helps. And I like it, because I'm a small channel and I enjoy interacting with you guys. Okay, let's get our orange yarn. We are going to reattach to our hook right here. If you need the tutorial for that, that is the single crochet video. It also includes the tutorial for how to attach yarn to hook as well as your chain stitches. Okay. Now again guys, I've been doing this for many years. I have some habits. This is our seamless join, and I want this tail to actually be caught and wrapped up in my next row of stitches across the top. So instead of starting my stitch right here, I'm actually going to start it back here a little bit, just so that I can grab the tail of this yarn by itself, and then they will be grabbed together over here. I don't know why I like that so good, but I do. Alright, so just like on the bottom when we did this down here, again, you have your 2 rows. Make your 2 single crochets in the top of each of these rows. I say top, but realistically this is the side of the row. So I guess call it whatever you want, because directionally it just depends on how we hold it. Alright, we're going to attach like that, and I just go straight into a single crochet. I don't even chain one, guys. Sometimes I don't. That was a straight single crochet. Let me just do that again to show y'all, for anybody who wants to learn. Okay. So I go in, grab my loop, pull it up. I've got my 2 loops, yarn over and pull. That's how I single crochet without a chain 1, also because it's not necessary for this, in my opinion. Alright, so now we're going to go all the way across with these chain 1s, just like we did on the bottom. Once you get to the end and you are back where you started at that beginning single crochet, go ahead and cut your yarn, but cut it long. Leave a very, very long tail. Does anybody else see my mistake? Oh, this is why we're here, learning together. Because even I make mistakes and have to go back and redo it. I didn't grab my tail and weave it in, and I can't do that. I have to have my tail weaved in because I am weird like that, and I understand it. Okay, back to what I was saying. Leave a very long tail. Like super long, because we are going to use that tail to bring in the top, but we're not doing a bunch of decreased rows because the ridges on top give it the character. We want the bottom a little flatter so that it'll sit properly, sure, but we want the top to have some bumps, some ridges, you know, a little bit of character to our pumpkin and jack-o'-lantern. And see, this one is not as pronounced, but it still divots in the center. Alright, I am going to finish up these single crochets and then cut my own tail and show you guys what we're going to do. Okay, we are here at the end of our single crochet row, and pull out a long tail. Okay, so how big your pumpkin is, like how many chains you did in the beginning, is definitely going to affect how long your tail should be, because what we're going to do is use the tail to weave through the top and bottom and essentially squish it like this. Of course, with stuffing, the sides are going to pop out, not in. But that's how we're going to get our jack-o'-lantern shape, is by weaving the thread across the top and bottom through your piece. Okay, so for this one I am going to connect these two. So I'm going to go right into my first single crochet. I would if this was not done so tightly, my goodness. Okay, oopsie daisy, there we go. If you're ever struggling to like get your hook in somewhere, start with this little tip end right here. That right there. Yeah, start with that. Alright, and I'm just going to slip stitch through, pull my thread through, and then we are essentially done with the crochet part, except for the stem and leaf if you want it. Again, if you don't want it, you don't have to make those parts to this. Alright, I cut a weird angle here. Let's straighten that out and thread our yarn onto our needle. Very good. Alright, now from here, weave in and out of these single crochet stitches. In and out. And do not worry about pulling this tight, because that's what we're going to do. We are going to pull this tight at the end. I like to keep it open in the beginning just to make threading the needle a little easier. And of course we still have to stuff it. So that's going to take us a minute. One, two, three, four. Oh. And I do try to actually go under it, because having yarn go through yarn makes tightening it so difficult, because it's way more likely to tangle and then we're having to fight with it. So if you need to do one at a time as far as threading back and forth, please do. I don't want you to have to like stop your project halfway because your yarn got stuck and tangled up together. Alright, we are almost there. Oh, sorry guys, I'm having to hold it a little closer to me so I can make sure I'm seeing properly. I do wear glasses and I'm like legally blind, which is really funny, all things considered. There it is. Okay, we're almost here. And see, having that stitch be slightly different is also super helpful, because then you kind of know where you are. But like I said, I don't like marking things, and I tend to not, so. Although the crazy corner, or chaos corner to corner that I'm going to show you guys, hopefully here in a couple weeks, I use a stitch marker for that, and I am not afraid to admit it. That is one of those designs that I just cannot tell where the side actually is. Okay, here we are. We are back to the beginning. Go ahead and stuff your amigurumi. And yes, if anyone's wondering, that is like actually what these things are called, is amigurumis, when you put faces on it. You're still an amigurumi, whether you like it or not. Okay, get that stuffing in there. And one thing I will say about the stuffing is, if you can push it to the sides and keep it away from the center, that is going to make weaving this thread to create our shape a lot easier for you. So if you can, stuff as much as possible to the sides. Okay. Pull, 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 pull. Okay. And now I can see and feel the empty space here. Over here is pretty good, but I need to stuff a little more there. So I will always pull it a little and then stuff some more, especially across the top when it comes to pumpkins, because I don't know, they seem to fall flat if I don't. And I like a nice poofy pumpkin like the next person. Okay? Alright. That looks pretty good to me, and I don't want to overstuff him. Okay? I don't want to overstuff. So now what we're going to do is simply pull this tight. Slowly and gently. You do not want to snap your thread, is what I was trying to say. You're going to have this little hole. Don't worry about your little hole because the stem goes there. See? No worries. Okay. Get your needle back. Go ahead and put that through the hole. Turn your pumpkin over and squish. Gently and easily. Don't stab yourself. See the needle poking through? Pull that through. And you can actually kind of determine how tall or short you want your pumpkin to be by how hard you pull through. So like if I leave it like it is, he's still kind of fluffy. But if I start pulling, look at the way he shrinks. So you can kind of determine your pumpkin's height based off of this, depending on the amount of tension that you put on it. So what you're going to want to do is don't go dead center every time. Make sure you move kind of to the outskirts as well. Alright? And just shape your pumpkin how you think he should be shaped. Oh no. Oh, that was just a thread. Cool. I was worried we had stray yarn. And see, now I'm just kind of sticking it in randomly. And I know we don't normally do that in crochet. We like a little more order. We like for things to work. But this pumpkin is one of those pieces that you can be a little random and it's gonna work because they're unique, each and every one of them. They're sometimes a little quirky. You can almost always find something cool going on with a pumpkin. Okay, something weird, something unnatural. And I think we should be able to build our pumpkins just as unique as they grow in the wild. Boop. Alright, how do I like my ship now? Squish, squish. See, I like him because he's shorter than the other. So now I've got a short little dude instead of a tall one. And I can squish him a little. And shape him with my hands. Boop. Okay. Now, I feel like I've shaped him up very well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a thread from the other side and push back like this. As you can see, I grabbed one, my thread's coming out here, I grabbed one across from me and then one back close to where my thread came out. And I am going to seal off this hole just a tiny bit. Now, however you choose to close off is completely up to you. Like, I know people have 100 different ways that they do it, and everybody has their own style. So you close off however feels comfortable. And now, I always poke through to go back to the bottom. And I will cut my thread from the bottom. There we go. Yeah, see, he's a little wonky. I like it. Squish. Can you blame me, guys? I like to squish them. They're so freaking cute. Alright. That's done. Let's do the stem. The face I am not going to show on this video. I can do a tutorial if anybody wants a like how to make a face tutorial. Let me know in the comments. I'll totally do that for you guys. But for the rest of this one, I am going to do a stem and the little leaf. So, same hook. I'm not changing anything. I am using the same light yarn that I did on my first one on this next one. As soon as I find the end of it, we are good to go, guys. Oh, well, it can't be here. These are both still attached. Oh no, my yarn! Okay, well I am unsure about this one, but there's a tail in here somewhere. Ah! I found it! Fantastic. Alright. Here we go. Now, this is going to be a little tight. There is no stuffing inside the stem. It is just crochet. but it is tight. Be prepared to struggle on this part. I know I always do, just a little bit. All right, chain 2. 1 and 2. You're going to go back in this first chain. You are going to make 6 single crochets. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? Go ahead and pull that tight. And we're not joining. Once again. I really don't like joins, you guys. I think it gives them a seam. I'm weird about it. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. But what we're doing here is we're going to jump from here back over into this first one, and we're just going to do another 6. We're going to do a continuous round until you have the height of stem that you want. It's literally that simple. We don't have to count anything. We don't have to keep up with anything. And if you stop midway, like we have 6 around, but you do 6, then you do another 6, but then you only get to 4, and you're like, oh, this looks pretty good. That works. That absolutely works. And that stem is going to go on there and look just as good as somebody who did count. I promise you. Alright, so hop over here. I do not take this strand in on the first row. I have found that makes it a little harder when I want to actually go to tighten it, and I am unsure as to why. But because of that, I just don't. I will go through this entire first row, and then I will come back, and I will pick up that beginning tail. But I will not until after I have completed my first row, which is what I am about to do. Or my first round. I call them rows and rounds. I use those interchangeably. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, this is close enough because this was kind of the first one. So now when I go back into this one, I am going to take my tail with it. And that tail is going to be wrapped in there. Alright, here we go. And again, just do this until you feel like the stem is tall enough for you. So if you wanted like a baby nub of a stem and you're like, oh, that's cute, I want to stop there and put him on. Yep, go for it. Go for it. Your pumpkin, your stem. Right? Alright, let's keep going around. I am going to pause the video, guys. I'm going to finish up my stem. I'm going to show you how to sew him on. We're going to move on to the leaf, and then we will be done. Okay, guys, this is as far as I'm going to make it with this one. I like this little short stem because I made a little short pumpkin. So let's cut that thread. Go ahead and pull that through, and then I'm going to use the end of my hook to like stuff this back down in here. Just to keep that out of our way. It might help if I unthreaded the orange so that I can thread on our tan. There you go. And then just set him right there. Okay, just right in your pumpkin, wherever you want him. And wherever you see that land, wherever you see that land, put your hook in there. Your needle. We don't have a hook right now. Put your needle in there. And then put it right back through. Like that. Okay. So now that thread's all the way over there. Is that going to look okay? No. So now I need to pull it back because I don't want it all the way over there. So now what I'm actually going to do is pop through. You have to pop through on the other side, dude. You can't pop through in the middle. There we go. Alright, pop through on the other side. I got that. Alright, so let's resituate and turn. Okay, so this stitch is about the one that feels like it's close enough. So I'm going to grab this stitch. Eventually I will grab this stitch. There we go. I'm going to go back in where I came from, and I'm actually going to pop up like right next to it so I can grab, you know, maybe a stitch or two over. Oh, that tail needs to come down. There we go. Alright. And then just kind of work your way around it. You know, grab it, push it through, pop off on the other side. Alright, I'm going to grab this last one right here, and what I'm actually going to do is go straight through, and I'm going to push this through to the underside of my pumpkin. And what that does is it actually kind of tangles your yarn in with your stuffing. And it doesn't let it come back out. Oh yeah, that was the perfect height. He's adorable. Oh, are we not cutting now? Okay. It's a Thursday and my scissors don't want to work. Fantastic. Boop boop. We are almost there, guys. Alright, green. So, I do not have any more light green. I'm sure I do somewhere, but digging it out. Whew. Y'all, my yarn cabinet is ridiculous right now. I really need to organize. But we have this nice dark green that I think is going to look nice. And that's what we're going to go with. Okay. Alright. Same concept. Attach your yarn to your hook. Boop, boop. Chain 2. Okay. Single crochet 5 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now what you're going to do is chain up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your work. Slip stitch right back in to that same stitch. Now slip stitch over 1. And chain up 5. Now slip stitch back into that same one. And you're going to do this for all 5 of your little pumpkin petals. And that is going to give you your leaf. I do not recall if I slip stitched over on that one. And if I did not, I'm about to have a funky looking leaf, but I'm going to let it be. Because I like when things are weird and funky. Yeah, see, I didn't. And if you don't slip stitch over, you get a big space. And I actually don't like that space. So, boop. Yeah, we're going to... I'm going to end up pulling a stitch out of this one, adding in my 5th again, slip stitching back. There we go. Okay, and now slip stitching over. Yeah, see, if you don't do it in the correct way, sometimes it messes up, especially on this leaf, because you don't want big opening in your petals. Boop, boop, boop. And slip stitch over. Yep, slip stitch over, guys. That's going to be the step that gets forgotten. I just know it. I just have that feeling. So if you forgot that step and had to go back and redo it like I did, let me know. Let me know. Let's see how many of us managed to do that today. Slip stitch. Alright, one more, guys. We got 4 petals. We are almost there. Slip stitch into that last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right in there. I am going to have a bit of a tail. Okay, I'm going to cut over here. Now, that bit of a tail is for us to sew on, you know, obviously. I'm weird here. I know a lot of people probably don't do this, but I actually tie these 2 strands together. I am always so worried about my work coming undone. Like, I am. It hasn't in a very long time, but it's probably because of all these little steps that I take to ensure that, you know, it doesn't. Oh, he's gonna be so cute. You guys, he's gonna be adorable. Okay. See, I like it right there, so I'm actually gonna take this. And you, if you want to, you can sew down the leaves. Like, on this one, I didn't. I just sewed in the bottom portion, which is what I'm gonna do here as well. But if you want these leaves to be sewn down, you absolutely can do that. When I do it, I go right next to my stem, if not actually through the stem itself. Alright, I need like I just need a little bit here, please. Thank you. Just a little bit. Alright. Now I'm here. Okay, that's the back, so make sure it goes on like you want, with the back where it should be and your front piece where it should be. Okay, there we go. That is that. I'm going to go through that leaf to keep it close. I'm going to push back through to the other side and hopefully grab a portion of this leaf. Did I get it? Oh, right there. We got it. We got it. Now, straight through. And pull. Perfect. Now, obviously, this strand needs to go through too, because you can't just like leave them hanging. I mean, well, you could, I mean, figure out a way to curl him. Have one of those little curly cues on. Oh, that would be adorable. I bet you could do that with a dowel rod and some of that like firming spray. I bet you could make curly cues to put on these. If anybody decides to do that, I would love to see some pictures. You know, I think I'm going to put the Instagram link to the channel down below as well, just in case, like, you guys decide to... Why is this stuck? Just in case y'all decide to make your own and want to share photos. I feel like Instagram is like such a cool place to do that. My pumpkin! Don't forget to cut your ends like I do. I get excited. I swear I can do crochet and I'm like a kid in the candy store. Been doing this for how many years? I still get excited. Okay, cool beans. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I know. I'm so off camera today, guys. I am so sorry. Pumpkin. And then, of course, for the jack-o'-lantern face, again, if you guys want a tutorial, let me know. I'm more than happy to give you a tutorial. But basically, black yarn and then design the face that you want. Or you could do needle felting, which I'm considering needle felting on this one. I think that comes out in a much cleaner look. I don't know, I just wanted something goofy, and I feel like my jack-o'-lantern came out very goofy, and I got exactly what I wanted with that. But there you go, guys. There is your tutorial. If you have any questions, if I missed anything, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. If there's anything that you want to learn that maybe you haven't found a good video on yet, definitely let me know that as well. I'm so happy all you guys are here, and I'll see you in the next one.